as already mentioned, today we talk about language and literary studies. And here is the agenda. So we are starting with bachelor's program and proceed to a master's from 2 German universities. Of course, all of the guests will be presented separately. Before that, who is behind today's session? This is my German university, a database where you can find English and not only fully English to study programs, because there could be programs with the elements of other languages as one of them today. The study finder that you see on the screen right now is just a demo version. There are much more filters if you click on the full page, where you can adjust all the information you want. I don't know, starting with fees, ending with program features, and even your own scores that you already have, for example, from English language tests, etc., etc. So all of that can be adjusted, and then you are seeing the most suitable program according to all that requirements. You are also welcome to check out our articles. Those articles are free of charge. They are written by internationals. This is really important because we highlight the pain points for also international students who want to apply to a German study program and start their semester in Germany. Their articles, in addition, are also translated to multiple languages, so you can happen to read, you can even read them in your native language as well. And of course, we have webinars to stay connected and also to answer your questions. We have general and subject webinars. In general webinars, we present broader topics like university scholarships, visa, studying in Germany. And there we also have this Q&A part where my colleagues Marie and Oliver present and then answer your questions. And during subject webinars, we have guest speakers from German universities who present their programs and then even take your questions. So we are always very thankful for their time and for joining the webinar. This week, actually, we have 3 subject webinars starting Monday, and the last one will be on Thursday. You can see all the upcoming webinars on our page, and you can register for them as also for free. And this is our team. We are based in Hamburg, Germany, but the team is very international, from different backgrounds, but of course all of us studied in Germany, so we are happy to share the experience with you. Now, as I have mentioned, the study finder that was on the very first slide is just a demo version. In reality, it has lots more filters, and all of those have breakdowns. If you check for degree programs in language literary studies, there are 538. And of course, you will not go by one through all unless you have a lot of extra time. Therefore, you need to narrow down the search, and for that, you can adjust multiple filters. Of course, the first natural breakdown will be into bachelor and master's, and then you can also adjust, I don't know, English language degree or university type, some requirements, etc., etc., and you will see already relevant programs. In addition to that, you can even sort programs according to location, deadlines, and so on, so that's easier for you to check them out. And finally, you can even, if you like multiple programs, and I'm sure you will like many of them, you can add them to favorites so that you have them in one place and later you can check them out once again. If you just want to see what does it feel or mean studying language literary studies in Germany, you can check out the subject pages that provide the explanation of what a subject is about, what you should expect to study, what are the rankings, tuition fees, application admission requirements, and language requirements. But of course, these are just broad representations because all programs have different requirements. Even within the university, there could be some even the different deadlines. So it's always very important to carefully check the program profile and all the details that they are presenting and also requiring during the application procedure. Yeah, this is an advice from our side to always check the program page and not be guided by rankings, names, or cities, because all programs, as mentioned, are very different, unique, and then you will be spending a few semesters in studying this subject, so it will be a perfect match. Briefly about the university landscape in Germany. There are universities and University of Applied Sciences. Why we mention it? Because from the experience, we know that not many of you have such kind of differentiation in different countries. Therefore, just so that you, when you hear these differences, you are not scared. There is no much of a difference. The only thing is that usually programs offered by universities are more research and theory oriented. Programs offered by University of Applied Science usually are more application and practice oriented. However, there could be exceptions on both sides. Again, going back to my previous slide, check out the program information. Additional suggestion will be checking or searching for programs by subject and not trying to guess program names so that you do not miss many of them. And now, as promised, the most interesting part will begin because we have Dr. Annika Frank from 𝘗𝘠𝘪𝘥 who will be presenting two bachelor's programs, Applied Literary and Cultural Studies and Applied Linguistics. The location and some program facts on slide, but you have the whole presentation about this, so I just stop screen share and give the mic to Dr. Frank.
Yes, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for having me. Yeah, as you introduced, I'm going to introduce the programs of Applied Linguistics, which I'm a graduate myself, and Applied Literary and Cultural Studies. And I will also include a few words concerning our master's programs, just because it's not that much more information. And maybe you're looking for, your next 10 semesters of studying, and then you can do the bachelor and the master in succession. Okay, I'm going to start my screen share. Yes. So I hope this works. Because I have my second screen, I'm just looking a little bit to the right, and don't get confused by that. Okay, so our programs, Applied Linguistics and Applied Literary and Cultural Studies, we're located at TU Dortmund. Those programs were among the first bachelor and master's programs in Germany. So yeah, that's what we are kind of proud of about. And Dortmund, as you have seen on the map, is in the western part of Germany in the so-called Ruhr area, which is densely populated, a lot of cities next to each other, only 1.5 hours car drive to Amsterdam, so quite close to the Netherlands. And it's a great place to live. It's not as famous as, for example, Munich or Hamburg or Berlin. And it's also not as expensive to live here. So that's a good thing too. And yeah. So, and we are quite good at football. Well, not this season, but generally we are. So if you're a sports person and yeah, if you like to hang out with cool people, then come to Dortmund. And also because you want to, go into an academic career, and that's what we talk about today. Hang on. Yes, so there it is. We have an undergraduate and a graduate program. The BA programs in Applied Literary and Cultural Studies have a regular study period of 7 semesters. It's 3 semesters of basic modules and 4 semesters of advanced modules. And you have 1 to 2 complementary studies. So you will have an interdisciplinary bachelor's degree. And in total, it's about 210 CP, Leistungspunkte. So yeah, it's a good bachelor. And it includes an internship that's compulsory, as well as a study abroad and a bachelor's thesis, of course. The MA program is only 3 semesters because the BA program is 7 semesters. So in a total of 10 semesters, you can get 2 university Abschlüsse. Can't think of the word, I'm sorry. Yeah, in the master's, you only study 1 subject, which is literary and cultural studies or linguistics, and it has a research and project orientation. Okay. So what do you study in a linguistics degree program? Well, a lot. So what we look at is the structure and characteristics and functions of languages, especially German and English in our case. We look at language acquisition, multilingualism, and language processing, different approaches, neurolinguistics, psycholinguistics, all those. We look at the functions and effects of communication, e.g. in politics or in the media. So how do people communicate? What are the effects? How do people try to regulate language, and how do language users not like to be regulated in their use of language? All those things. Theories and perspectives on language. Historical and sociocultural dimensions are important too. How has language developed over the past centuries, and why do languages change all the time, and what can we do against it? Nothing. So we should be happy they change, because that's a life sign of a language. Languages and technology and media, all those things, also different research methods. And of course, in times of ChatGPT and all those AI programs that use language and huge corpora, how can linguists work with AI programs? How do we even program those programs and stuff like that? On the other hand, in our literary and cultural studies degree programs, we look at the analysis, the interpretation, and the productive reception of literary and cultural texts that can be from the 18th century up to today or even earlier. So there's a broad range. We have an expanded concept of text and culture. So we look at the popular culture as well as classical texts. So maybe you are more interested in, I don't know, Shakespearean language and drama and stuff like that. Then you concentrate on those and choose classes around those topics. But you can also look at, I don't know, Taylor Swift's music and her musical reception and her text, and how she has an influence on an entire generation. Literature theories and their history. I mean, we are a university, so theory has to be there too. Media history and theory, discourse of literature and culture. How do they interact? How do they have an influence onto each other? All those things. And as well, cultural activities. So especially the students of literary and cultural studies often have projects within the city of Dortmund. We have the Literaturhaus, the literature house, where they have authors from all over the world, and they plan lectures and readings, and so you can organize your own projects. So it's very applied. So prerequisites, oh, sorry, this is a little bit off, of the BA and MA programs. So you need a university entrance qualification, an Abitur in German, but you can also enter the university with an international entrance qualification. Which ones are accepted and what you have to hand in to be able to attend one of our programs is organized with our international office, and many applications go via Uni-Assist, so you might have heard of that. They collect all the data needed, and then we can see whether you can be whether we can give you admission to our programs or not. You need a very good German and English language skills. So there's C1, CEFR, so Common European Framework for Languages in German, or the DSH2, Deutsche Hochschulzulassung, or something like that. And also you need a B2 CFR in English, and you need to, you need to do a test or certain things to show that you have those qualifications. What you need is an affinity for language, languages, texts, media, culture, and other areas, and commitment and autonomy. So we have an orientation on work experience and the application of knowledge at work, for example, through internships. Also, you need to be an organized and structured person, or someone who wants to become an organized and structured person, because the course of your study, you have a broad range of options and you need to make decisions. Sometimes that can be hard, but as your academic coordinator, I would help you anyway. So additional prerequisites for the MA programs, I'm just going to scoot through this because I want to focus on the BA programs. So you need a BA degree in literature, linguistics, or languages, 35 CP at least, and your BA may be monolingual. Some courses that count as a minor subject, and your average grade needs to be 2.5 or better in the German grade system 1 to 6. Internship or work experience, but the big but, admission is possible if you don't fulfill all those things, because we usually have certain individually specified conditions that we can tell you to do so that you can study our master's program anyway. So the application runs through our international office, like I said, but especially MA applicants. You can send in your transcript of records of your bachelor's program to our email address, and we can look if an application via UniAssist is worth a try or if it's not. Okay. Special features of our degree programs. So what sets us apart from other programs? We have a very international orientation. So therefore, we would love to have you around because you won't be the only international student. We have short-term stays of students that come from other Erasmus universities throughout Europe, but we also have students that do the entire degree program here with us. So we are quite international. We have a compulsory semester abroad during our BA programs. We have a lot of cooperations with Erasmus, but you can also go overseas, like the United States or wherever you want to go, really. And we have partners in Vietnam too. Also, our programs, like I said, are bilingual. And so that's very special too. And you will gather a lot of intercultural competence through our programs, such as Erasmus or the Cultural Companions program, which is a program where students from Dortmund welcome our international students and help them get used to how it's going here. So if you come round to study here, we will find a cultural companion for you too. Don't worry. We have a focus on work experience, like I said earlier, the compulsory internship, and we also have project work and event management projects, stuff like that. So it's always hands-on, right? Further, it's an interdisciplinary approach, and this is really important. So in your bachelor's, you will have complementary subjects, 1 or 2, depending on which ones you choose. For example, in humanities, social sciences, but also in subjects such as, I don't know, statistics or economics. I will show you a list later on all the complementary subjects which you can choose from. Also, we have interdisciplinary courses. Sometimes we cooperate, like the teachers cooperate with other professors from marketing or spatial planning or music. So we look at music in terms of with the musicology students, the musicians, but also as cultural studies students. And we look at how music shapes the culture, how it evolves during cultural changes and stuff like that. So it's very interdisciplinary. And also you always get individual advice and a lot of support through the coordination, the academic coordination, which is me and my colleague Bernd, who can't be here today because he's off sick. So we're sorry, it's only me. But so there's two people for all our students that take care of you and answer all your questions and guide you through the program. Right. So if you take a look at this list, that's the complementary subjects in the BA program. So you see it's a very, very broad range from engineering, spatial planning, computer science, economics, statistics, journalism, sociology, political science, sports science, musicology, philosophy, Catholic theology, cultural anthropology of textiles, psychology, also the majors, applied linguistics and applied literary and cultural studies can also be minors. With our colleagues from a different university, which is 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘳𝘃 Bochum, which is quite close, like I said, in the Ruhr area, everything's basically next to each other. You can study French, Italian, Spanish, Oriental studies, or Korean studies as well. So I don't know, maybe you are a French native speaker and you want to study French at a university level too, so that would be easy for you to attend those and to choose a complementary subject like that. Yeah. So how is it structured? You have a core study program, which is either applied linguistics or applied literary and cultural studies. And you have a complementary subject 1 and a complementary subject 2, which you can choose whichever ones you want. Some of the subjects have a limited capacity or they need prior knowledge or internships. Like if you want to study journalism, you have to have done an internship at a media company. Yeah, so, or if you do musicology, you have to do an entrance test. Same applies to sports sciences. But if you want to choose any of those complementary studies, please contact us in advance so that we can check what you need and what you don't need. Right. So what's my future as an applied graduate? So what do we do after we've graduated? Well, we become an academic coordinator like I did, but there's a lot of options what you can do. Thing is, our degree programs do not train students for a very specific profession. So it's not teacher training to become a teacher. It's not like jurisdiction to become a lawyer or stuff like that. So it's a broad range. And sometimes it's difficult for students because everybody's asking, well, what do you study and what do you need that for? So be prepared for that and have an answer. Some of our students always say, oh, we become professional taxi drivers or something like that. But they don't, actually, they don't. So our graduates are in very different places. They can be, we have influences, we have people that work in schools, we have people that are at, that teach German abroad. One of my colleagues is currently a DAAD lecturer in at Monash University in Australia. So there's a huge variety of things that you can do, a lot of journalists. So here's a few examples. Many different career paths are open for graduates. So for example, public communication and corporate communication, journalism, cultural education, adult education, different fields, different topics, always depending on the minors you choose. Social media management, public relations and marketing, especially if you choose an economics minor. Publishing is one area too, or in science, technical communication, editing, all those things. For our master graduates, we have a lot of well, not a lot of, but we have quite a few people that enter doctoral programs. So after my master's degree, I did my PhD in linguistics. So that's a career path too. Right. To give you an idea on what to pick and choose, like when you're a registered student and if you do English linguistics and German linguistics, so if you're an applied linguistics student, some examples, language variation and pop music, but also multilingualism, linguistic landscapes, identity and attitudes in language learning. So there's always courses that you can do together with teachers training students. So you also learn about didactics if you want to, you don't have to. Songs in Modern Irish, so Modern Irish, another language you may learn or get a glimpse of. And also German linguistics, there's Syntax and Morphologie des Deutschen. Well, this is difficult now, switching languages. Sprachwandel, so language change. Gender linguistics, which is kind of easily translated. So there's a huge variety. So this is for the applied linguistics students. And in literary and cultural studies, crime without frontiers, crime fiction in different cultures, video games and cultural studies. We have a gaming lab. So if you're into video games, you should definitely come here. We have a professor who's very much into this and does a lot of seminars on this topic. But as you can see, British poetry, so we do classical stuff as well. And if we look at German literature, komplexes serielles Erzählen, so which is a narration in TV series, Bad Banks, Thin Ice Fruit. So a lot of stuff that actually concerns things that you might watch on Netflix and chill in your free time, and that you can actually take into university and talk about. So we have a lot of different courses to offer. Basically, that was the main part of my presentation. If you want more information, you can always contact us as academic coordinators. Like I said, my colleague Bernd Essmann, he's more the coordinator for the literary and cultural studies program, and I'm more into linguistics. But like in general, we can answer all questions. You can also book individual appointments with us via email. Just email us, and then we do a Zoom appointment. You can ask all the questions that you forgot to ask today. And also you can check out our website, 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥@𝑡u-dortmund.de. Currently, our English version is down because it was bad, and we're working on that. You can translate our current homepage just with with your browser, but we are working on the correct translation, and then you will have more information for international students. And so basically that's what I wanted to tell you, and I'm excited to see what Dr. Leibold has to say, and then I'm excited for the Q&A part. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you from our side as well, Dr. Frank, for a very interesting presentation, all the details you shared. There are some questions right now, I see 4, and we will discuss them in a bit. But before that, oh, by the way, dear attendees, if you want to check the program pages before the new version of the English page is available, check out also our page. The links to both of them are in the chat because everything is in English, and also there is even some videos embedded. So check that out. Now I share my screen to give the virtual mic to Michael Leibold, who will be talking about Master Program in Chinese Studies, very specific program. The location in Germany is on the map. In China, it will be mentioned. And yeah, Dr. 𝘗𝘓𝘪𝘳, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here and hope many of you are out there sharing this program that might sound slightly specific, Chinese studies, but China is not completely irrelevant. So actually, I think it is a program that might be of interest to many of you. Let me check. So first of all, again, I will look to the right as well because I have two screens and have it. Maybe I can take it. Can you still see it? Okay, so it's a fully English taught master program, so you don't need any German knowledge, but you will need to know Chinese and English to start in the program. And I'd like to put us on the map first, because Würzburg is not such a big city, but it's a nice city. It's an old historical city, as you can see here, medium-sized, about 130,000 inhabitants. And it is, we would say, in the heart of Germany and Europe, because actually something that many people don't know, the geographical center of the European Union is 8 kilometers from the city center of Würzburg, since Great Britain left. So we're conveniently located an hour from Frankfurt. And we have an old university, a university town. We have 3 universities in town. Music University, University of Applied Sciences, and our university, which is the biggest of the 3, and we are one of the 5 of oldest German universities, actually. So we have a long tradition and fairly sizable university, usually among the better ranked in whatever international rankings you may have there. And with quite a few Nobel laureates. The one that probably everybody knows is Röntgen, because he discovered the X-rays and was the first one to ever get a Nobel Prize. But all of that has little to do with us because we're doing Chinese studies. And our Chinese studies department was established in '65. We have a focus on cultural history, social and political studies of contemporary China and China's economy. These are the 3 main fields that we deal with, and we have a range of bachelor and master programs. I will mostly talk today about the Chinese studies program, but briefly maybe also touch on the other programs. I'll skip all that. So our master programs obviously build on a bachelor, so you must have a bachelor program, and then we basically have 2 twin programs, the Chinese Studies program, twins with the Chinese Politics and Society program, and the China Business and Economics twins with China Language and Economy program. These are the master programs that we have, and Chinese Studies and China Language and Economy are both fully English taught. The other 2 will require German knowledge as well. Now, what requirements do you have to bring along to be admitted to our program? First of all, you must have done something in the field of Chinese studies. It may not necessarily be named Chinese studies, but must in the end fulfill the minimum requirements of having content classes of around 20 plus ECTS or credit points in Chinese studies, and a minimum of 40 ECTS in Chinese language training. Our applicants usually bring along something like HSK 5 in Chinese language, also because we do require a stay abroad during the bachelor term in one of the Chinese-speaking countries. As it is English taught, you will have to prove your English proficiency, minimum B2. You will have to provide a CV and a letter of motivation. So, and the grade requirement is 2.9 or better. If you have 1.9, you will most certainly be taken if you fulfill all the others. If it's worse than that, then the interview will do, hopefully, the trick. How does the application work? We have an early deadline on the 15th of March for a start in the fall term. We only start in the fall term with our programs. And this is necessary because, as you will see in a moment, most of the students are international students, which means they have to do all kinds of visa applications and so on. In the first round of application, you just send your documents to me. We do not do any assist or anything like that because we don't want you to pay for your application. In the second round, then, if all the applications is complete and the requirements are what we kind of expect, and again, if you don't fulfill every aspect, contact me, we can discuss that. You will then be invited for an interview, and if that works out, you will get a preliminary letter of admission. And then in the third round, and only then, the international office comes in. You will have to send your original documents to them. They just check if they are real, so to say, and then you get your final letter of admission. We start in early October because we have 2 short intensive courses before the regular lecture period starts. Check the information on the homepage. There's FAQs and everything where you can find the basic information. What's the program about? Now, we have a couple of obligatory modules. They're introductory classes, as we have, and that is important to mention, 2 tracks in the program. There is a modern track, which is on contemporary society and politics of China, and a pre-modern track, which is on late imperial China, mostly cultural history and literature. So you get an introduction to those 2. You have to do quite a bit of writing of papers before you do your thesis, because we consider ourselves to be a research-oriented master. And then in the field of electives, you do languages, that is advanced Chinese, pre-modern Chinese, and or Japanese for sinologists. You must choose 2 out of these 3 possibilities. Your research focus will be your track choice. So you're either interested more in the modern contemporary China or in the pre-modern China. That is something that you state in your application. And that is where you then will mostly get your methodological training, obviously. Yeah. Then you have a range of electives in Chinese studies, and onto that in a moment, we have an integrated term abroad at Peking University, where you obviously will also do Chinese studies courses. And in the 4th term, it's a 4-term program, you write your thesis. Electives, what can you choose, actually? I think that is quite important. We have different levels of choice. The first one, obviously, is track choice. You choose to be modern or pre-modern. Then you choose between the different elective modules. You have more offers than what you have to take, so you go to where you're interested in. But, and that is what we have as a specific offer, students decide for every class what is to be done, content class, even the obligatory classes in the introductory sessions, because we meet up with students when they come or at the end of the 1st term for the 2nd term. Then professors offer a range of topics, and then you vote. You discuss and you vote for it. So the module is called Contemporary Politics 1, but it could, for example, be elite politics, grassroots politics, or anything else. Yeah. So, and the same is true for the pre-modern part. I will show you some of the class contents in a moment. In Peking University, you also have a wide range from different faculties where you can choose, and you can also choose classes from contemporary political economy, from the other master program, China Business and Economics. So what could they look like? These are just some of the electives that we had in the last 2 semesters or so. Social change and modernization for the modern part, Chinese peripheries that could be, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Xinjiang, Tibet, ethnicities and ethnic relations, Chinese intellectuals, grassroots, or elite politics. It's either or usually, or it's in politics in contemporary China. China's national innovation system, that is more economically oriented. From the pre-modern field, something like everyday life in late imperial China, gender history, the city in late imperial China, knowledge and action as a trope in late imperial Chinese philosophy, or very specific courses on texts like the 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘷𝘦𝘳𝘴𝘪𝘈. This is just to give you an idea on topics that have recently been chosen that you could write on, a very wide range. You're completely free and, well, not completely, it has to be in the range, obviously, of what you've been studying, but as Chinese studies is a broad field that allows for a wide possible selection, so you can really focus on your interest. We try to guide you in the process, as you have to write papers before you're accompanied in the whole process. So you could work on, single women, you could work on soft power or male homosexuality, whatever your interest might be, as long as it is feasible. This just very briefly on the third term, which is fully integrated, so it's not a free mover type of thing. We have a cooperation with Peking University, one of the most prestigious universities in Asia, number 1 or 2, depending on the perspective, in China. And we have an own office there, ECLC, so we have personnel on the place, and you will get then specific courses for you, language-wise, help with library usage and so on. But you can also choose from the wide range of Chinese taught courses at this prestigious university. Just some statistic, because many people ask, how many students are there actually? Yeah, so these are all our 4 programs. I've marked CS, that is Chinese Studies, in yellow for you to highlight. I haven't the most recent year in here, but it's generally, as you can see, kind of quite comparable. We have a take-in in Chinese studies of 10 to 20 or so per year. Last year it was 15 again, I think. Overall students, you can see that on the top part, 35 to 53 students here. And interestingly, you can see in brackets a percentage of foreign students. So in Chinese studies, the percentage of foreign students is extremely high, around 90%. Obviously, because it's English taught, CBE is much less because you would need German for that, just a CPS. Yeah. This is where our students come from different countries. Now, the colors of the countries are not ideological or anything like that. That is the frequency of students that we receive. So green is something like 0 to 10 students, yellow 10 to 20, then orange is up to 50 students and over 50 students, and is red, that is Germany. But you can see that it is very international, and you will usually meet quite interesting people when you study Chinese studies in Würzburg. Well, percentage for, so we have currently 128 graduates. Overall, we had 170 students on the program. And so it's a small program, but an intensive program. And you can see that we have a big share of students that actually come from Asia. For track choice, there's 2 to 1 for modern versus pre-modern, and kind of the same for sex ratio, more women than men on the program. So I don't know if I was too fast with that, but if you may have any questions, then we maybe come back to whatever is on your mind. Otherwise, as Nino said, we will share the slides, and you can look at them again and have the links to check our homepage. Looking forward to your questions. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leibold, for the introduction of the program and the details you shared that are really interesting. And actually, there are questions. So let's just read the list out. I only answered one question, which was about scholarship and for everybody who's interested in scholarships and UniAssist. So for UniAssist, the webinar about UniAssist, how to register, upload documents and everything will be on Friday, this Friday at 4 o'clock Berlin time. If you want to read about it, you can check out the articles. The articles are also in chat. Now about scholarships, the 𝘱𝘠𝘵 scholarship for master's program, especially for the graduates of all academic disciplines, could be relevant. And the application for that one is depending on the country. So feel free to check that out. Again, the links to 𝘱𝘠𝘵 country-specific scholarships is in the chat. And also, Dr. Leibold mentioned that the application program to the master's program is done through the university, and you need to email the list of documents to Dr. Leibold, his email, and the list of all documents once again in chat. Now, let me read out. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. If one has international baccalaureate, is the preparatory year still necessary for bachelor's in Germany? I think it's for Dr. Frank. The question.
What do you mean with the preparatory year? I'm sorry.
So international students need to so dear attendee, if you're still here, dear Elisa, you need to check in ANABIN database if your high school degree is recognized in Germany as equivalent. Since you already have done a bachelor's degree in your home country, you don't need a prep course, because many students who apply only with high school degree will need to do either Studienkolleg in Germany as a prep course, or will need to do 1 year of university studies in your home country. So since you already have one bachelor done, then I believe it's no need, it would be no problem. Maybe the question would be, is it possible to do a second bachelor with you? Do you have any restrictions in this regard?
No, not at all. You can do as many as you want.
Wonderful, great. Now question, Dr. Leibold, does the exchange program in China count enough as proof 2 semesters?
You do 1 semester, that's the 3rd term, that's a winter term, that is fully integrated, and that is obligatory. We expect you to go to 𝘱𝘠𝘵 for that, because we have that cooperation, and the credits that you take there are automatically part of the program. If you want to stay longer in China for another term as a free mover, you can do so. And you can go to any other university you would want to, partnership universities of our universities. We have dozens. You could also go to Japan or Taiwan for that. And you would get advice for us from that.
Mm-hmm. And I think also to apply, you need proof of international experience. In that case, would that be enough if the student has exchange semester done in China?
Sure, that's the idea. That's the idea. Okay. Basically, our own students that come from our own bachelor program, they have an integrated stay in China, and that is the 1 term. You could have a year, that's just as fine, but minimum 1 term experience, because we kind of expect you to be at a certain level in language and kind of know the region already. Yeah, so it's not a beginner's program, it's a research-oriented program. But if you have done 1 term wherever, that's fine. There has been an issue with that, if I may add that, over the last years, because due to Corona restrictions, many people couldn't go. So we had an exemption on that requirement for many years, and we still, I'm just looking through the applications we are getting right now, and there are actually still some students that didn't have the possibility to go because they graduated, they worked, and now they apply for the master program. And so we still allow, if you have good reasons for that exemption. But it tends to be tricky, because then you might not be at the same level of Chinese.
Thank you so much. A question for Dr. Frank. If I already did the bachelor in Dortmund, is the application process for the consecutive masters anyhow easier? Do current undergraduates have any priorities? And the second one you already answered, what is the expected level of German when applying?
So if you do the Applied Linguistics Bachelor or the Applied Literary and Cultural Studies Bachelor, and your grade in the end is 2.5 or better, you can just enter the Master. You don't have any priorities in this case, but we don't have we have enough spaces for a master applicant, so there's not like you don't have to worry. If you did your bachelor's here, you will automatically be you can automatically enter our masters. And the level of German is, like I said, C, C1 or DSH2.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I think this came during Dr. Leibold's presentation. Is this program open for those with a background in sociology?
Well, actually for those that study sociology, we have the twin program to Chinese studies, Chinese politics and society. So that aims at students that have been trained in sociology or politics or that type of field and now get interested in China. And they then can apply for Chinese politics and society and will get Chinese language training at a lower level than Chinese studies, but they do share a lot of the content classes with the Chinese studies students. Yeah? The problem with Chinese politics and society, no, not a problem, but it may be a problem in this specific case, I don't know, is that there you do need German knowledge, because we do have shared classes with the Department of Politics, and there it's in German, while with us it's all in English. So if you don't have German proficiency and a background in sociology, then you would want to contact me and we would have to run through your transcript and see how much China relevant classes are in there. Yeah? If you were, for example, have written your thesis on China, that would already be very helpful, yeah, a topic that has to do with China. So that you can somehow show that you do have some background. And again, for Chinese studies, you would need to know Chinese at a certain level. If you don't have that, then it would be Chinese politics and society.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Dr. Frank, can I apply for this course with international A-level psychology, English literature and language, and business?
If you have an university entrance qualification, we don't look which courses you actually did. So yeah, sure.
Exactly, because this is a bachelor's program, you will just use this as a thing to avoid 𝘗𝘓𝘕𝑔𝑒𝑛 collect. The other things that the team will look out is the high school diploma, which will be then relevant for the application. Now I have a question for, maybe we can have one more question for Dr. Frank, and then I take like 2 questions for both of you. Could you specify what is the application deadline for non-EU and EU applicants for linguistics?
Hang on. Yeah. So the bachelor's programs only start during the winter term, and the application period is mid-March to July 15th. And the master's degree program can be started in the winter term and in the summer term. So for the winter term is the same, and for the summer term is beginning of November to January 15th. I can send a link to all the dates here to the question.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Thank you. That would be great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, maybe we can start with Dr. Leibold, 2 questions, and then Dr. Frank. Are there any age limitations? And would it be possible to pursue a degree while also joining a football club in the area?
No, there are no age limitations for visiting university in Germany. There are age limitations if you apply for scholarships and things like that. Yeah? but not for access to university. Join a football club. Yes, we are not quite as prominent as Dortmund for football. But we do have, I mean, every German city has lots of football clubs. So certainly you could do sports, and the university has their own sports center. So they have football activities that students can join for free. So there are a lot of possibility for sports if you're into that.
Right. Dr. Frank, what would be your input?
Yeah, same here. No age limitations. How much are the costs for these programs? So we have a semester fee that's currently, I think, around 300 euros per semester. I'm not completely sure, but like in comparison to many other countries, going to university in Germany is quite cheap. I think we can use the word cheap.
Inexpensive, not cheap.
Inexpensive. Well, if you want to read cheap with a bad connotation, inexpensive.
Yes. So same here.
Easy to enter.
We have, I think, currently 160 euro for actually not study fees, but that is a student service fee that is required, and that includes traffic. So public transportation is included.
Yeah. Well, I think we don't have that included anymore since we have the Germany ticket right now. So maybe it's even less expensive by now, but I'm not quite sure. Well, definitely join a football team here. So there's a lot of teams. So, and if you're gonna play professionally for Borussia Dortmund, then please say hi and get a ticket for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. So great perspectives on studying, getting an academic degree, and also your sport perspectives. Wonderful. What can I add? Nothing. I wish everybody the best of luck when applying.